In the world of sports, there are legends. And then there's Diego Maradona. He was a figure of such blinding talent and, let's be honest, such profound flaws that his story became way bigger than the game itself. So today, we're going to dive into the life of one of history's most compelling and contradictory athletes. Look, to really get a handle on Maradona, you have to get comfortable with extremes. This was a man who could reach these incredible heights of genius, stuff few have ever touched, while at the very same time he was battling personal demons that led to some devastating lows. His career wasn't just a highlight reel, it was like a full-blown opera. And honestly, that's the perfect way to put it. That phrase, half angel, half devil, it just captures the contradictions that followed him all the way from the slums of Buenos Aires to the absolute pinnacle of world football. And we are definitely going to see both sides of that coin. Okay, so first things first, let's just get one thing straight. On a football pitch, Diego Maradona was basically a god. His talent was just undeniable, a total force of nature that left opponents and everyone watching completely mesmerized. He was what you'd call the classic number 10. Now, he was only 5'5", which gave him this super low center of gravity. And what that meant was he could turn and twist and move in ways that, frankly, looked like they defied physics. It was like the ball was just glued to his feet. And that phrase, from the French press, it just stuck. It became the way to describe him, because it so perfectly captured that two-sided nature we would see again and again. So you gotta ask, where does a guy like that even come from? Well, his journey started in the absolute humblest of beginnings, and his rise was so impossibly fast it gave him his nickname, El Pibe de Oro, the Golden Boy. He grew up in a place called Villa Fiorito, a shanty town where life was really, really tough. But when he was 3 years old, someone gave him a football, and that was it. He was completely obsessed with it. That one little gift didn't just change his life, it would end up changing the entire sport. And the speed of his rise was just insane. I mean, look at this. A scout spots him at 8, he goes pro at 15, and he's playing for his country, for Argentina, just 1 year later at 16. His talent was just so obvious, it rocketed him onto the world stage at an age when most kids are just starting to figure things out. It's funny, his first youth coach, a guy named Francisco Cornejo, literally couldn't believe Maradona was only 8. He made him show his ID card to prove it. This quote says it all. He looked like a kid but played with the smarts and the skill of a veteran. It was totally clear, even way back then, that he was something special. All right, so if you want to see that whole half angel, half devil thing in action, all you have to do is look at one single match. The 1986 World Cup quarterfinal. This is where that whole legend was forged for the entire world to see. And the stakes here could not have been higher. This wasn't just another soccer match. This was Argentina versus England, just 4 years after the Falklands War. The tension was massive. This game meant so much more than what was happening on the field. And then, in the space of just 4 minutes, Maradona scores 2 of the most famous goals in football history. One was an act of complete brazen cheating. The other, an act of pure, untouchable genius. His entire legacy right there in 240 seconds. Okay, so first up, the devil. He leaps for a high ball against the English goalkeeper, who is way taller than him, and he punches the ball into the net with his hand. The ref completely missed it. Afterwards, he famously said it was scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. But then, just 4 minutes after that moment of chaos, the angel appears. He gets the ball deep, deep inside his own half and just takes off on this mesmerizing 60-meter run. With just 11 touches of the ball, he weaves past 5 English players like they were traffic cones, goes around the goalie, and scores what FIFA later voted the goal of the century. You can just hear the absolute shock and awe in the BBC commentator's voice. The sheer audacity to cheat and then to follow it up with a display of skills so amazing it left the world speechless. In 4 minutes, he showed everybody exactly who he was. So of course, this whole blend of controversy and genius didn't just stay with his national team. It followed him right to his club career, where he had an impact that was just as dramatic. He went to play for Napoli in southern Italy, a team and a city that was always looked down on by the powerful North. And there, he became a king. I mean, just picture this scene. He arrives in Naples after a world record transfer, and 75,000 fans, 75,000, fill the stadium just to welcome him. A local newspaper wrote that the city didn't have mayors or houses or jobs, but none of this matters because we have Maradona. They really believed a savior had arrived. And you know what? He kind of was. Before Maradona showed up, Napoli had never, ever won a league title. With him, they won it twice and even conquered Europe. But it was about more than just trophies. In Italy, there's this huge divide between the wealthy, powerful clubs of the north and the poorer south. Maradona became a symbol of defiance, a cultural hero who took on the big guys and beat them. But, well, being a god for an entire city is a heavy burden, right? The pressure was just immense. He looked for an escape, and his addiction to cocaine just spiraled out of control. He started missing games, got fined, faced a huge scandal about an illegitimate son, and even had suspected ties to the local crime syndicate. His time in Naples ended in disgrace, with a 15-month ban for a failed drug test. The devil was back. So, where does that leave us? How are we supposed to make sense of a legacy that's just so messy? How do you balance the sublime artist with the deeply flawed man? Even after his playing career was over, he was still this massive global icon. He was always in the headlines. And in Argentina, he's more than a football player. He's a symbol of hope, of defiance, and yeah, of imperfect brilliance. You know, maybe Maradona himself said it best. At his farewell match, he stood in front of a massive crowd and said, "I made a mistake and I paid for it, but the ball doesn't get stained." It's this powerful way of admitting his own failures, but also saying that the beautiful things he created on the field, well, that magic stays pure. And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Do you separate the artist from the man? Can you celebrate the angel while still acknowledging the devil? There's no easy answer here, and that very complexity is probably what makes the story of Diego Maradona so powerful and so unforgettable.